Hey everyone, in this video we're going to meet a family of 3 who's living in a tiny house in San Francisco to save money on rent. First, we want to say a huge thank you to Ecosia who sponsored this video. They're basically like a green Google, a search engine that uses their ad revenue to plant trees in deforested areas around the world. We're really excited about their project and we're so flattered that they're willing to support exploring alternatives as well. So we'll put a link to their website in the description of this video and we hope you'll check them out. Now let's go meet the tiny house family.
Before I moved into a tiny house, we were broke, pregnant, but we'd been planning and dreaming about a tiny house for at least a couple years. Saw them on Facebook and immediately fell in love with the concept. It was an idea in the back of our head. It was never a possibility, mostly because of the financial situations. Financing a tiny house, we were young in our marriage, and so we were, didn't have much in terms of savings, and so without too many bank options, it was never a reality, but it was something that we always wanted to do. Currently, we're in San Francisco, traveled out here and for a work opportunity, and the tiny house was a big part of that. With that work opportunity, they were opening an office in San Francisco. So they had asked me to move across the country with their family to help plan the office out here in San Francisco. And we use that as leverage to finance our tiny house, because for us, it's a way to hack the Bay Area's high cost of living. So rather than take $3,500 a month on average for a 1-bedroom apartment and flush that down the drain, it made more sense to us to invest that into a tiny house. We did have to go personal loan route, so interest rates are higher, terms are shorter, but because of the work situation, we're able to double down and pay that off quickly and not flush all that money down the drain.
When Micah's company asked him if he would be willing to move across the country from Birmingham to San Francisco, we had about a 2-month window, so there wasn't enough time to build it and move out here. Originally, that was the dream, was to build it with our own hand and have my dad help us, but the 2-month window just didn't make it possible, so we had it contracted.
We're on track in 2 years or so to pay off the tiny house completely. And then at that point, we're under 30 and financially free. We don't have a mortgage. We'll be able to settle if we want to settle somewhere, or continue to travel around, be flexible with career opportunities, or whatever we want to do. And so that idea, I think, is really appealing, especially with a young child. It's our ambition to be able to provide him with experiences growing up now. This is our living space. I mean, I can do like a full 360 turn. It's pretty large.
And this is our lounge loft. It will be Silas's bedroom at some point when we feel confident in his ability to climb the ladder. This ladder comes off the wall here, then just hooks over here. And this is our closet. It actually is pretty functional for 3 people, if you can imagine. This is our lounge area. We do a lot of lounging, sitting, cuddling in this area. This is where we do all of our eating, the majority of it. Sometimes we stand and are too lazy to put it up. But it just folds out. This is our kitchen. It's actually, most people consider it pretty big. We have a full range, we have a deep sink, we have butcher block countertops, and then kind of match the rest of the flooring. We have a little space to store our stools. This is a gate that we had to make ourselves. This is our bathroom. This is our 1-unit washer and dryer, and then a stand-up shower. We've been living in this tiny house for about a year, and we love it. I don't think we have any plans to change anytime soon.
It's everything that we hoped it would be and nothing that we worried it might be. Going in, especially with a family and kids or whatever, there's questions. Is it gonna feel too small? What's it gonna be like as they're growing up, when they start to walk? Composting toilets.
Composting.
Can you have guests? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions that are you going to be able to find a parking spot? But we found that generally they're, if not enjoyable, very much doable.
Doable.
Yeah, and you kind of adopt the lifestyle, and after a while, composting toilet is not that big of a deal. It just becomes part of your day-to-day.
We went from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom to a small 1-bedroom to a really small studio. And we started paring down slowly. We started looking at every single item that we owned. It's like, do we like this? Do we need this? Do we love it? Is there a place for this? We really chose to keep his toys limited to 2 bins and only have things that he actually loves and plays with.
Parking our tiny house, we're definitely not tiny house travelers. For us, we needed a really large tiny house because of the family situation. Jana, just like she would spend her days emailing and looking up Facebook groups and that sort of thing. And out of, I don't know, 100 emails we sent, 1 replied, and it was a unique situation where they had land given to them, and so it was kind of a pay it forward sort of thing. They really felt they like wanted to help us, and so they really became our landing pad, and so we were able to instantly have a community, instantly have a place to park, and for about a year. And it was in a parking lot, which, you know, isn't the sprawling hills and everything that you might visualize when wanting to have a tiny house, but it worked. It was in a great town. We really enjoyed it. And after about a year, the city basically found out we were there, and so they had requested that we went through a permit process to make it official, which just complicated things.
Yeah, we didn't really want to deal with that. Or like have to put that on anybody else.
Now we're in a residential area, and so we live essentially in somebody's backyard, but they have a RV pad, which is like concrete pad that's been laid. It's like perfect dimensions for our tiny house. We park there, we plug up to their water, you know, coming out of the hose, and have a great water system, and just run an extension cord, you know, big 10 gauge extension cord to power our tiny house. And we have solar. So that's kind of our current parking situation. So this is our backyard situation. Like I said, we're, you know, we're living in the residential area here at our current spot, which we like. So this is the back of our tiny house. It's kind of messy, so apologies, but this is it's like a sort of a storage unit, but also houses our propane tank, as well as other knickknacks here and there. Our generator we keep underneath in case we want to run the air conditioner or the washer dryer. This is our solar box. It houses our batteries, the inverter and all that good stuff, which is neighbored by our panels, which we have just chilling in the side yard here next to the house. It does pretty well actually in the summertime here in San Francisco. Yeah, we get more than enough sunlight. Underneath our tiny house we have these handy bins. You can see those. We like to keep, you know, storage of random things, backpacks, hiking gear, that sort of thing underneath, out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. Helps us keep our tiny house clutter free.
Living in a tiny house with a child has been very interesting, and we've had to make extra measures because he likes to climb and destroy and have fun.
We can only spend so long in the house before he forces us out the door, whether that's in the backyard. We spend a lot of time out in the backyard.
Play. You wanna go play?
Play.
Let's go play.
Okay, let's go play. We're new parents, and so not only were we figuring out how to do a tiny house for the first time, we were trying to figure out how to be parents for the first time. And in the planning phase, we tried our best, but there were certainly some things that if we could go back, having done it for a year, that we would do differently.
Yes. We had the rails added to the lofts. They ended up not being big enough. So we had to add baby gate, and about 6 months into having the baby gate, Silas could climb it.
It does delay him a good 15 seconds. So it allows us to, if we turn our back, it's not like he's up the top of the stairs. It takes him some struggle to get up, but he can climb it. So we're trying to figure that out currently. The reason why we built a second loft is when he gets older and he can navigate those sort of heights and ladders and that kind of thing, that will become his bedroom. And the idea was, right now we co-sleep, and so it's great, but at some point we'll need that space, him as a grown boy and us as parents. So the second loft is on the opposite end of the house from us, and so our idea is that's going to create that space that we need and allow us to stay in the tiny house for longer. So I think we could comfortably live in a tiny house with a family till he's maybe 8 or 10. That's the plan. But we'll do it as long as it's comfortable. As soon as it's inconvenient or not comfortable, we'll figure something else out. We're only committed to the next 2 years until we pay it off. Then we're free to kind of be flexible. The time we spend together in the tiny house, we're sort of in each other's space, so we have to deal with things sooner, problems. We can't just shut things off. They're kind of all in your face all the time. So I feel like we'll be able to deal with things and maintain a close relationship. At least that's our hope as he gets older. Separating for nap time and bedtime is nearly impossible. So Silas is up later with us and sleeps later too with us, and so but I personally enjoy that because as a working parent, I'm gone most of the day, and so I get to come home from work and spend more time with the family, more time with Silas, rather than come home, have dinner, take a bath, and put him to bed. We actually get time to hang out. But without a tiny house, I think it would have been different. But I really enjoy that dynamic. So
yeah, we love how it is.
Yeah, it works for us.
It does.
And that's kind of the thing about a tiny house. Like, you're able to build it around your lifestyle, and so our lives reflect that.